Hello, people. Today we have this bag of random gun parts. Let's check it out. So, a customer, in lieu of payment on a project, gave me this bag of parts. So this first part here is a replacement military component. It's a disconnector. Part number 6008603, manufacturer 14677. If you know what number or what manufacturer that number goes back to, please put it in the comments below. I'd really like to know. But this is a disconnector to a 1911 surface pistol. And this is a replacement part from the 80s or 90s. That is super cool. And this clearly is a new replacement barrel for a 1911 handgun. Looks like all these parts are for a 1911 handgun. That's awesome. Thanks, Alan. I love 1911 handguns. Maybe we'll open this later. All right. Three recoil spring caps. And if you don't know what that little tab there is, that's for turning on to your recoil spring. It makes it tight on the end of your recoil spring. So when you're disassembling from your barrel bushing and the spring shoots out, you don't lose your cap, which is awesome. They don't put that on any modern caps that I've seen. Here's two recoil spring guides. They're lightweight, hollow. All the old military guides were hollow. And they have slightly different dimensions. One is a little longer than the other. One's blue and one's parkerized. It's hard to say who made these parts. There's a lot of manufacturers during World War I and World War II of 1911 components. This is a mainspring housing, serrated, with a lanyard loop, but I question whether this is World War II military. The old World War II, the US militaries anyway, had a wider border here on the sides. This reminds me of something from South America. I don't know. If you know, please put it in the comments below. All right, let's look at these hammers. There's a lot of hammers in here. Well, you can tell which ones are used. Those have been slamming on a firing pin stop. And the hammer hooks are a little worn, but these two hammers are in great shape. And they're serrated. Oh, look at that. I wonder if that one looks like it might be made by Wright. And then this one could be a Remington. Those are two different makes. And then you have these two hammers, which are both checkered, pressed checkering. Hammer hooks are in really good shape. And that one there has a machining anomaly. And these are in really good shape. These are all very serviceable parts, as they would say. So here's clearly a brand new sight set. So if you're not familiar with how to install these sights, you have to crush this pinion. So of course that's brand new. And if this was in a dovetail, you'd see clear marks here. So a lot of these parts are aftermarket replacement military parts made by US manufacturers, probably in the 50s or 60s, 70s, and 80s. Here's 2 firing pins. And quite honestly, it is so difficult to tell the difference between a modern, commercially manufactured firing pin and one that was made back in the 40s or even the 20s. Now, grip safeties, however, are a little different story. Most grip safeties today are going to be cast, and there's obvious cast indicators. These are machined, and we know that because of this shape right here. There's a lot of indicators. I mean, you can just tell by just the way that the part is not only shaped, but the way it feels. It looks like these are made by the same manufacturer, and they're both in great shape. And then again, parts like these, it's just so impossible to know. These are locks for the magazine release. Those look used. This one, though, looks brand new. Firing pin stops. Another part that's really hard to say when or where it was manufactured. There's 2 magazine releases, checkered. One's got a lock and a spring, and the other one doesn't. Here's a sear. There's 3 thumb safeties. Wow. So it looks like one is serrated. Now these lugs down here, usually when they're abused, you'll see these will be heavily filed and mangled. This bottom corner here would be sharp from the manufacturer. It comes to a point, and then the gunsmith will file it to match how it matches up with the bottom of the sear. And these are all in really good shape. That one's checkered. It's really hard to see. These parts are dry. There's a slide stop. Nice. Commercial slide stops sometimes have markings on the inside, but the old military ones didn't. They were just, the machine markings were obvious. Serrated and parkerized. And lastly, a trigger. This is one of the things that they skimped on from World War I to World War II. This is the 1942, they transitioned from a machined trigger, which was very expensive. It was about $1.80 something. It was almost $2. And this stamped and folded trigger. See, this shoe is folded, and then this bar is a flat piece of steel that's folded around. And then they press the checkering in. At the time, in 1942, these were costing $0.25. So to go from almost $2 to $0.25 on a component for war was significant. And they probably did that on a lot of these parts. All right, so who made this barrel? And it is impossible to see. Gonna have to go grab some oil and a toothbrush. So we went and cleaned the barrel and find that it's chrome lined. And the rifling is in pretty good shape. On the lower barrel lugs, it reads NP. And then on this side, we see M. And then the top of the chamber, it reads 45 Auto, part number 7791193. And then 92 refers to the year it was manufactured. Of course, that's a aftermarket replacement part. So it was manufactured to go on an existing pistol. It really wasn't meant to build a gun, but I can build a gun now. I just need a frame and a slide, really, and springs, and a pin kit, and a barrel bushing.